Hey everybody, it's Mr. 845 here, and we're here with another small business. This is Cesar. Cesar, tell us who you are and what do you do?
What's up, man? How are you? Thanks for having me.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm Cesar. I'm from CQ Marketing, Creative Quality Marketing here in the Hudson Valley, Newburgh, New York. And we are a full service digital marketing agency as well as a podcast studio. Going by Hudson Valley Podcasting. I'm sure you guys may have seen the sign somewhere. But yeah, we've been here for a few years now. I mean, over 10 years with the marketing agency, about 2 years with the podcast studio. And nothing. I'm just ready to start getting out there and getting to know people and getting people in here. I've set this whole thing up and I'm ready to go.
All right, cool. So, first and foremost, like I like to do with all my podcasts, uh, it's important for people to get to know how to contact you, right? So, what are the best channels to get in touch with you, and if they want to book with you, take me through that path.
Yeah. So the easiest way to contact me if you're looking to do your own podcast, which I'm going to get you in here so you can do a podcast in here. But the easiest way is if you're looking for podcasting, it's hvpodcasting.com. You can set up an appointment with me there and I'll take you through everything. And if you're looking for marketing, just go to creativequalitymarketing.com. You can see all the services, everything that we do, and you can book an appointment to come and chat it up with me so we can see where you're at with your business. Pretty easy.
Yeah, cool. So, make sure that you guys take a look at it. I'm sure that you're on Facebook and also Insta, right? Like you're on those different channels.
Yeah, I don't push them as hard because I've been very low key and I've had a very select few clients and I keep it really close. So this is really the first time anybody's really seen me out doing anything. Because again,
Exclusive.
I keep very private. I have a very select few clients and I haven't really gotten out there like that, so I don't really push it as much. But this year, I'm really gonna start pushing on all the channels. So yeah, you'll see me on there soon.
All right, cool. And so kind of like how I go through a lot of my podcasts and episodes. Really, I want to get to know you as a business owner. So, like some of the key things that I ask is kind of like, what did you want to be when you grew up? So the question is, when you were younger, was owning a digital marketing agency something that you wanted to do? I mean, when I was younger, I know that didn't even exist. So when you were younger, what did you want to be?
Yeah, so when I was very young, I started messing with computers and technology. I mean, I kind of grew up in it. I was born in the 90s, literally 90. So my whole life has been tech and the whole dot-com bubble and cracking my first Photoshop and just to give you a little context, both of my parents are business owners. And when we moved from Colombia to here, they didn't even speak English, so it was really up to me to sell them, sell their stuff, market them. I really kind of started really young. Sales was really the name of the game for me at first. I got my first sales job when I was like 15, and ever since then, it started with sales. But and I kind of grew into other sales jobs that getting better and better. But as it related to when I wanted to become a business owner, it came to a point where I was selling other people's stuff a lot and I was doing great and I was killing it. But I had this thing where again came from entrepreneur parents. I wanted my own business, I wanted my own service, my own product to sell. If I could really sell anything, what better than your own product, your own service? You know what I mean? So that's kind of where it started for me. I started selling my parents' business, then I started helping other people with their businesses, and then it was like, you know what? I always had a full-time job, but I had my side clients, where I just kind of slowly grew them. And then it just kind of turned into, all right, I don't have to work at my 9 to 5 anymore. I can just dedicate all in and go in with my clients. I had a few clients that supported me, and then I just kind of kept growing it and growing it from there for the last few years. And I'd say in the last 5 years, it's really grown to a point where I can really start, making some damage and helping some businesses out here too.
Yeah.
You know?
And so, yeah, talking about that, so being a young entrepreneur, you kind of seen the different iterations of how the world has changed. Now you're going into the digital world, right? So tell me, like, what kind of services do you offer in your business?
Yeah. So digital marketing from top to bottom. So as small as graphic design. So if you need, flyers, posters, business cards, whatever you need as far as the low end stuff, I can definitely fulfill that. Then it goes into websites, right? Whether it's simple websites or e-commerce stores. E-commerce has become one of our bigger things. We have quite a few clients in the e-com space. Our main clients are basically e-commerce, local businesses, and entertainment. Those are our main ones. But yeah, so we help you with, Facebook, social media as well, ads, running ads with for your business, or for your e-com store. We do that a lot. We started getting a lot more into production. Obviously, the podcast studio is more for content. And yeah, so it's a full service agency. I do help businesses a lot with integrations between different systems. So when
Okay.
it comes to like the high end level stuff, so you have Salesforce, or if you have an inventory system and you need all those systems to talk to each other, I'm kind of your guy. That's more of the high level stuff that I do. So it goes as simple as, business card and a website, all the way to a full blown, e-commerce, with an inventory system and a CRM,
Okay.
fully integrated into your whole thing. So that's kind of the plethora of everything.
And for the people in the audience, CRM is customer relationship manager. Okay.
Yep.
Right. I mean,
Yep.
that's
Yeah. 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 It's
so that,
essentially, yeah, how you
yeah.
manage your leads.
Yeah. So like if you have email addresses, phone numbers, stuff like that, it's an easy way for you to like catalog. Think of it if you're old school, the Rolodex, right? You know, the little
Yeah.
turning Rolodex that, hey, I need that number. It's literally a digital version of that. So it's your address book, it's your contact list. It's kind of like how you're going to gauge your customers. So it's a very important thing to have if you're a business that's growing. You definitely want to have a CRM. You definitely want to be able to get it organized, because then it organizes your leads, organizes your mail outs, your email blasts, and everything. Like even if you have email campaigns, stuff like that, it helps a lot. So, in looking at kind of some of the questions that I have, digital marketing is kind of like the way of the world now, right? Can you kind of give advice to some of the business owners that haven't worked with you yet, and kind of like tell them, why is digital marketing so important for their business now in 2025?
Yeah. So it's funny. I love working more with businesses that think that they don't need marketing. Those are my favorite ones. The ones that know they need marketing. If you wait until you need marketing, you're late.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because it takes time to build a brand. It takes time to build a name. It takes time to really see the effect of good marketing. Right?
Okay.
Right? It's not instant.
Let's see what, like, for business owners, if they really wanted to understand kind of like how digital marketing works and kind of all that different type of stuff, throw spaghetti on the wall, see what sticks, and then if it works, and then you're done, right? But we all know that business owners, they have to throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall, right, to see kind of like what sticks for their brand. So that being said, like, what have you seen trending wise when it comes to digital marketing? Like, are you following a lot of the TikTok trends? Are you making business owners do those little weird dances, or is it something where you're on the more traditional side, like advertisements, pictures, stuff like that?
Yeah, so it really depends on the brand that I'm working with, right? Every single brand has a different voice, tone, personality altogether. So if I'm working with a brand or a business owner that is more apt to doing the dances and doing the trends and jumping on the thing, especially in the entertainment space, like I manage a few comedians, so they're great when it comes to content and jumping on trends. But then I also have other businesses that don't need to do that or don't have to do that, and so it really depends on the brand that I'm working with. But overall, there are a few things that are standing out in this space. Mainly podcasts. Podcasts are doing huge numbers, both on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Podcasting for every business in every industry is really, it has been for a few years, but I feel like it's ramping up a lot more now, because people are just consuming that content way, way faster and way more than before. And it's funny how you're asking about trends. We're literally in the middle of a huge trend right now with the morning routines. I don't know if you've done yours yet. I don't know if you've seen it, but there.
I don't have a morning routine. Literally, I just throw a shirt on, a hat on, and then I'm done.
Yeah, you don't dunk
But
your face in
I
ice.
don't,
You
I
don't. You
don't,
don't do the ice baths.
no, no,
You look
I
like you
don't,
do the ice baths. Look at
no.
you.
I have a spotlight. That's it. That kind of softens the oldness that you see, being 43. But
Yeah.
other and Zoom gives you a little bit of like a little bit of
Yeah,
touch
yeah.
up a little bit. So I use that.
Yeah, yeah. No banana peel for you, huh?
No. So I
But
mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So right now, there are a lot of trends happening that you should jump on if your brand allows for it. Then yeah, jump on it because there's millions of views to be had from just jumping on a trend and just following exactly what's working. And there is of that. But if you're not the type to do that, then there's other ways to tackle marketing as well without having to do the dances and the all the crazy things that you see online, but you still need to market because at the end of the day, every business needs to sell, every business needs to market. That if you don't do those two things, you're not going to be in business for very long,
yeah,
you
correct.
know.
So,
So
I mean, I've been doing this for almost what is it, 2025. I started in 2012, 2014 ish.
mhm,
So 11 to 12 years, 13 years maybe. You
yeah.
kind of, but between I own a computer business called CE Avengers, and starting off, it was more like everybody always said word of mouth. Join all the chambers,
Mhm.
participate in all that stuff. You're gonna network. You're gonna make millions of dollars because no, there's not a lot of computer businesses out there. I mean, I've gotten more business literally just putting up a website and doing digital marketing than I have on the radio, on TV, on paper, and email or anything. And I don't even advertise anymore, and I still get phone calls for my computer work. Really, more stay in the main space of Mr. 845 social media and events. But tell me, like, for your business owners, what are they seeing in the sense of, are they still doing traditional marketing, or is it they're really doing heavy digital and very little traditional?
Yeah. So again, it really depends on the stage of the business that you're in and the type of business that you have, right? So I know, and I've worked with businesses that haven't needed to digital market and they run millions of dollars worth of business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all been through referrals and they only needed me to like create a simple website with portfolios, but they've spent years building relationships and doing it the old traditional way. And they have a multi-million dollar flooring business in this case, is what I'm talking about. So, there's a lot that can be said about the traditional, non-digital, very person-to-person, one-by-one approach that still works today for sure. However, if you're looking to be a business that can reach masses or can get to volume or can or needs to sell volume, if you're an e-commerce store or if you're someone that needs the volume instead of the one-to-one, you need to be doing digital marketing. If you're a business that's ready to scale and ready to really blow up, you need to be doing digital marketing because you need the eyeballs, you need the people looking at you and knowing who you are. So, it really depends on the stage of the business that you're in, if you should go heavy on digital marketing or if you need to. There's businesses that I've worked with that want to market and even have the budget, but they're not ready for it. They're just
Mm-hmm.
simply not ready for it. The back end of the business isn't there. So what good does it do you to spend thousands of dollars in marketing if you're going to not fulfill or let people down? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Or your product is not where it needs to be. So there's a lot of things in business that come before the marketing. And I've kind of like started to lean a little bit more into the consulting and the business consulting side because I've seen all these things. I stay in my lane with marketing because that's where I keep you. But if you're a business owner and you're like, hey, I need to market, I need to do this, I have this budget, I came in with this money, and I'm like, okay, cool. If you do get thousands of customers, what next? What happens next? So then that's when we start breaking down some of that stuff. But every business should market. It's really at the point where you are that determines how much or how hard you go on your marketing.
Yeah. I mean, speaking in the same world, I have a client myself. They did continual, marketing, but it was more like photos and like not understanding how to put music against it and what trending is and stuff like that. So, when it comes to marketing, how important is it to do like the hashtags, the specific type of music that gets tied to your videos? How important is that?
So everything matters in marketing, from the biggest things to the smallest things. Everything matters. But at the end of the day, to me and what I tell my clients and my business owners, it's really about showing off your personality and the business's personality. So, you pick your music based on how you want your your brand to be perceived and your customers to perceive you. You listen to your customers or your clients the most. They tell you what they want to see from you. You know, the client tells you what they want to see from you. If you put something out, nobody says nothing, it's crickets, nothing happens, that's the client's telling you, hey, I don't really like that. And you put something else completely different out, and you get reactions, you get bookings, you get sales, you get whatever, you get comments, then that's what they like, and you should do more of that, right? So to me, and I follow this, you know, practice with everybody. Listen to your clients. They're the ones telling you the type of marketing you need to be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what it is for me. So yes, it matters. The music that you pick, the creative, the hashtags. Hashtags have mattered less and less because all of you know, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they've all started to turn into more of a search engine. Everybody is looking for information, not just on Google. They're going on now ChatGPT, AI. They're going on Instagram. They're going on TikTok to find information. So what you need to realize is it's not really about the hashtags. It's the words, and it's down to keywords. Back in the day, back in the night, keywords started when the internet started.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Metadata. Yeah.
a lot of people do not still understand how all that works.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a simple concept. You know, whatever words you want to show up for, and you want people to find you, those are the words you need to be using on your social, on your website, on your everywhere. So
Yeah.
those keywords still matter now even more than ever. They're just used a little differently, but they're still keywords.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
that's essentially it.
if they understand what metadata is, right? So
Yep.
like back in the day when we used to do HTML websites, like MySpace,
Yep. 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 Yep.
it used to be all metadata. You know, and it's important kind of to see kind of people, you know, making content. Have you seen any differences between them making content via text, via video, via photo? And if you've seen those differences, kind of like what type of differences have you seen?
Yeah. So again, it's so different for every type of business that you know, it really depends on what business you're in. But I will tell you there are some standouts, right? So SMS messaging has been huge across the board for everybody. So text messages has been huge. And more important, more fun fact, there's a company called Send in Blue. I'm not getting paid by them. I don't have any links with them or anything. But for example, Send in Blue sends text through the iCloud basically, so that your marketing goes through as a blue bubble instead of a green one.
Oh, okay.
That, yeah, yeah, yeah. But the thing is, yeah, that let's not get started with that. However, the proof is there. If you send your messaging with a blue bubble, it converts up to like 30% more than if it's in a green bubble and a text message. More people are
You
yeah.
iPhone users.
Hey, you know, the market talks, right?
Yeah.
So that people respond better to messages that are a little more personal, right? No matter where you are, so if it seems a little more personal, boom, that hits. And but yeah, so other things that stand out across the board for all industries is I would say being more real. Be real, be you. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to be who you are online. Don't try to be like your competitors. Don't do the same thing somebody else is doing. You can adapt things that other people are doing, but make it your own. You know what I mean? Don't do, you know, because they said to do this, do that. No, be you. People like real now more than ever.
Mhm.
So, you know, especially now with AI and all the fake stuff and everything, just be you, but do more of that. And then the right people, your people will find you. You know what I mean? You don't have to work as hard to find them. Be you and they find you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's kind of how it works. And it's hard to sometimes get people to understand that concept. Because a lot of people, I don't know why, it's a psychological thing. I'm not good enough. Oh, I look terrible on camera. I sound horrible. Hey, this is my first podcast, you know, so I'm the first to tell you, but you got to get over that.
Yeah.
And once you do, you'll find that there's a whole bunch of people that are going to love you for just being you,
Yeah.
you know? So that's it.
Yeah, I mean, so just to kind of give you some background, you know, starting this long time ago, speaking into a camera, right? Because you're not here with me. So speaking into a camera is something that you have to practice and you have to learn because, you know, making eye contact with the camera, making sure that you like, even like now I watch the video more than I look at the camera because I like to see people's reactions.
Yeah,
I'm
same.
drawn to people's reactions on camera, so I can kind of feed off of that stuff. But that being said, some of the practices and some of the key things is, public speaking, right? So take some public speaking classes, that'll help. But also understanding that, you have to start rattling off things that are in your head, straight to something that's not there. And just thinking, think of your best client, think of your favorite friend that you like to talk to, and you're talking to that person, right? And it makes it a lot smoother. But I tell, people all the time, if you're the brand of your business, the big thing that you should be doing is being in front of the camera, right? You should have your employees do it because everybody's going to think your employees are the owners. So if you're the owner of the business and you want people to know that you're the brand, then you should be in front of the camera. For a lot of your videos, a lot of the talking and stuff like that. But when it comes to doing a lot of these things on the digital marketing space, because I also want to talk about the podcast too. But when it comes to talking about the digital marketing space, do you feel that if people put their products out more versus them actually showing off their products, there's a big difference in kind of viewership?
Yes, yes. Uh, uh, okay, there's a saying in marketing, people want to buy, but they don't want to be sold, right? So you don't have to cram product down people's throat all the time. Like, so buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. That tends to turn people off. What you need to do is show off why they should buy your product. Show the transformation of your products. People buy a result. They don't buy the thing. You never buy something for the thing. You buy the thing for what it can do for you. Okay? I buy this because I need that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people need to market to across all industries is the result, the transformation. What does your thing do for that person that they should listen to you or they should buy your product? It's the result that they're looking for, not the thing. You know what I mean? And that's a huge concept that people tend to miss.
Yeah.
They think they need to sell the thing and they push the thing and it flops and it doesn't work. And they're like, well, why are people not buying my thing? Because they're not buying the thing. They're buying the result of the thing.
Yeah.
So market the result, market the transformation, market what happens from A to B, market the B. Don't market the A. So yeah, so to answer your question more directly, show off your product, show what it does, show why it works, show it, and then people will be like, well, wait a minute, I have one girl is well, there's a few skincare brands that I work with locally, and she barely markets, buy my stuff, but every time you see her videos, her skin is flawless. You know what I mean? So her skin just glows all the time in every video, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they go up there and they're like, yo, I don't care what it is that you're selling, but I want it,
Mm-hmm.
because she's selling the result.
Or because she could be talking and they're looking at her face and they're like, "What is your skincare product like routine?" and blah blah blah
Yep,
blah blah.
yep,
Yeah, so
yep.
I've seen
So
a lot of
that's the
comments
thing.
with that. So it's like, I don't have a skincare routine, so
I know you do the banana peel. I know there's at least something in there.
no, it's
uh,
staying out of the sun. That's
mm,
really helping.
yeah,
Especially because like my day job, there's literally no windows in my building, so it's like
that's
I,
funny.
the sun's up. I'm in an enclosed building. You can't see anything, and then when the sun's down, I'm outside going home on the train, looking at darkness, coming home to darkness. It's great. That's why I like days like today. It's a beautiful day out. We definitely have to take a look outside. Now, when it comes to a lot of this content generation, right? And before we leave this, because I really want to talk about the podcast services that you offer.
Yeah,
Um, you know, do you think that paid advertising is great to do when it comes to, like, I just generate content, right? And some of my content reaches maybe like 100 200 people at a time, and I throw some boost money at it, or I just promote it with ads. Do you think that that's the best method to do? Or when you're sending money to digital marketing in the sense of like Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that, should they reserve their money until they build their brand out and then market towards their highest viewership posts?
great question. Great question. Paid ads is one of the biggest. issues with people understanding when to do it, how to do it. It's a big issue in the industry. So my take is very simple. You definitely need ads, absolutely. But when you're ready, be ready to run ads. Does it hurt you if you have an extra 10, 50, $100 to throw into your brand for exposure? No, of course it helps. But when you're starting to spend thousands of dollars on a campaign, five, $10,000 on a campaign, you need to be ready and very intentional about that because you don't have money to waste at that point. 50, $100. Yeah, let me just boost this post, or let me get out there a little bit. This post is doing well. Let me reach a little more people. $100, $500, not that big a deal. Do it. It's going to help you. You don't expect crazy results out of $100 or $500. That doesn't work that way either. Now, once you start really having a product or a service that you need to push hard and you need to spend thousands of dollars on, you need to have the correct landing pages. You need to have the correct way of leading people through your funnel, right? So that you're not wasting money. The amount of times of people that I've helped businesses or work with business that think that just throwing money at it is going to work. You're going to flush money down the drain and you're never going to see a result out of that because all the other components that make the ads work are not there. The ads are just one piece of the puzzle, one small piece of the puzzle, really, because at the end of the day, everything else that comes after the ads, after they click on your ad, where are they landing? What's happening after that? What's the process? After they click on your thing, maybe you made a killer ad, but it's not selling. Why is it not selling? There's no process behind the ad. So yes, run ads. Every business needs to run ads. But when you're getting to the higher levels of ad spend, you need to know and have all those other things figured out. Page load speed. If you have a killer website, and you run ads on it and someone clicks on it and your website took 3 seconds to to pull up, people are clicking out. You'll never see that money. It'll be gone.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many components that come to like the high level ad spend that yes, you need to do it. Yes, that now I'll tell you the flip side. When you are ready for it and when you have done all those things and you start running ads, you can kill it. You can kill it. You can sell more than you've ever sold before. You can get more leads than you've ever gotten before. It'll be like, it's not a water hose. It'll be like you just
The
open the
deluge.
floodgates.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Once you're ready and you have all those things in place and you throw $5,000, $10,000 into a campaign, you're gonna see crazy results out of that. So that's the flip side. If you're not ready, you're gonna flush money down the drain. But if you're ready, you're gonna, in marketing, we want to make at least $3 out of every dollar. If you're making $3 to $5 out of every dollar you're spending, spend $1 million. Go ahead, because you're gonna get back 3. You're gonna get back 5. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how much you spend, it's how much you can turn around.
I wish for all the small businesses out there that are listening, if you're putting in $1 and you get $3 and you're making, uh, 10 grand in ads and you're making 30 grand, I wish you all the best. I really do. I wish you all that and then some. So, I mean, the way the world is like this, you're competing with all the other brands out there. So it's pay to play at this point with a lot of things. And the more that you dish in, as long as it's optimized, because I even had some brands, they would say, "Hey, yeah, I'm throwing money in," but for some reason, I'm getting people from like New Jersey, and I'm in New York, and I'm a local shop, and it doesn't make sense because they don't use my brand. And I'm like, "Well, did you look at the area?" They're like, "What is that?" I'm like, oh God." You
Yeah.
mean, yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean there's a lot of fake accounts out there, right? And Facebook doesn't really, break down kind of like, okay, these are all the fake accounts that show your page, and then these are all the real accounts that show your page. It's just these are all the people that show your page, demographics wise. It could be all made up. The way to really optimize it is to make sure that you really get specific to the audiences that you're looking at, right? So I want to make sure that people understand that they need people like you to really, customize the viewership that their posts are going to. Because if you don't do that, you're literally just throwing, you might as well just go outside right now and just start throwing money in the air. You actually might get more clients that way than
Yes,
throwing money into
yes,
Facebook.
yes, absolutely, 100%.
So I want to change it up a little bit. I want to kind of talk about the podcast studio and kind of like what you guys do there, because it's important. So
Yep.
being somebody that's a virtual podcaster like myself, I've done in studio podcasts before, and I feel like the difference in the atmosphere is different because like you're in front of the person, right? And
Yep.
you get to feed off their mannerisms, their energy and stuff like that. So take me through like what you guys set up in the studio.
Yeah, cool. So again, little story, backstory. One of my clients wanted to start a podcast, right? Everybody wants to start a podcast now, and I myself even everybody, right? Mr. 845 over here, So one of my clients said, "Let's start a podcast. What equipment do I need?" And I was like, "Okay." I had my own setup, I had my own stuff, and I was like, "All right, you're willing to invest a little bit. Let's buy this. Let's buy that." And we started buying, the equipment that very simple, very very straightforward, and he loved it. And then he was like, you know what? I got a little bit of more money. Let's buy all the equipment that we need to turn it into a podcast studio, and we'll go in business together. And I was like, I'm doing my marketing. I have my clients. I got my thing. But sure, I rarely turn anything down. If you
Mm-hmm.
know me, you know that I pretty much, do everything. So we bought everything. We set up the whole studio. We spent crazy money building it all out. The different cameras, the three angles. So we have lighting. I don't know if you can see it there. There's actually three
Mm-hmm.
cameras. The light setup. The whole studio is made to be modular, right? So I can really tear that whole thing down and turn it into whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, yeah, good.
So
Yeah,
there's a whole different. I have a whole mobile setup, so I can actually go to your space and turn it into a podcast studio. And yeah, that I didn't really talk too much about that, but yeah, so one of the upgrades or one of the things that you want to keep in mind if you are going to start a podcast, doing it live does help. Sometimes you need to do virtual because the person's just really far away and you can only get them there, and it's fair and it works. But the live, you get that level of quality. You get the 4K, 6K, 8K, whatever it is that, I mean, most people won't see that. They'll see like maybe 4K.
mm-hmm.
But the level of quality is there. The sound quality is a step up. The lighting is a huge step up. And all those things translate when you make your clips, when you put it on YouTube, when you put it anywhere, it matters. It really, it brings a level of professionalism to your podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you need to do it on virtual, do it. But if you can get to a studio, if you can get here in Newburgh, come on in. You know what I mean? I have a whole setup that I can basically customize to your brand. I'll put your logo wherever you need it. If you need to do a virtual, but you're still local, come here and then you look like a rock star. And then the next person that you're interviewing is like, oh, I'm dealing with somebody that is in a studio, and it just looks a lot better. It levels everything up, just a bit more. So long story short, we have the podcast studio here in Newburgh. I can customize the set. I can customize the lighting. We use, SM7Bs for the mics. We have the Rodecaster ready to go for the mixer, and myself and my team, because I have a full team here, that will do the editing, we'll do the post production, we'll do the distribution. So we'll put you on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all the different podcasting platforms, and that's all included in the price when you come in to just do the podcast studio. So the podcast studio ended up turning into like a feeder business into the marketing because people started to come for the podcasting, but they stayed for the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, podcasting, think of it as that's the product. You still need to market the product. You still need to, send it to people, get people to come to your show, get people to view your show.
Mm-hmm.
That's marketing, right? So it just turned out to be for us like a perfect, marriage between the two. People, oh, I want to start a podcast. People know they need a podcast. People know they need more content. People know they need all these things. They come in and they're like, well, yeah, you do need all those things. But then what happens after? What happens after that? Oh, I need a website. I need to sell merch. I need to, get it out there. I need to run ads. I need to grow my channels. So then it becomes this big thing. People get scared. Like, I can't do all that. Now you have a full team. Now with us, you have a full staff that's ready to go. I have social. I have web, I have this, I have that. Everything that you need is kind of like in-house. And here, this is why I've kind of been kept a secret because I have a small team. So I don't really, I can't take on 100 clients. You know, I
Yeah,
have to take on very select clients because I provide such a huge value of services, you know.
yeah.
So podcasting, yes, if you can't come into a studio, level up, you know, and then do everything else that comes after that, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the biggest thing I want people to kind of understand. So the difference between when me and Tony did our podcast in person, long time ago. Shout out to Tony. Um, it you get a different energy, right? So like your clients when you bring them in, they feel a little bit more important, right? Because they're like, wow, this is all for me.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this for me.
That's right.
Um, it really puts them at another level, right? And having the full customization is good because now you can get the different energies, the different feng shui for that client. So when they actually want to do their podcast, it's not like, oh, it's just a table, some mics, and that's it. It's more now we're really kind of getting that atmosphere, right? So the lighting is very important. As you can see, I'm actually working with lighting right now. Hold on, let me
Yeah.
I could brighten it up. I could soften it up a little bit. See, so it's a little important because not everybody looks always the best in light, right? But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
better light that you get when the camera's capturing it, you could definitely absorb a lot more of that person than if you didn't have the light on. If you didn't have the light on, it's just gonna look like I have like a couple lights on, so you're gonna see like it's a little bit softer, but
Yeah.
it's. I have also a lot of natural light, but if you don't have that capability, and you're like it doesn't really give or do you justice on film.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, and just to your point, look, I have this one here, and then there's one behind the camera, and yeah, this one different.
yeah, yes, yeah. So
Just
it definitely does different
yes.
effects to your face and your lighting is very important for the video part, right? So the audio part, the reason why it's important for people to like understand like the audio part, like right now I just generate things through a Yeti X, right?
Right.
So having a good microphone helps, right? And spending that money, I think the Yeti X is like $200 or something like
Yep.
that. I'm
Yep.
sure that your microphones are a lot more than that. But the quality of the sound that you get from those type of microphones, you sound smooth. Or if you want to do like a deeper voice and your voice actor and you
Yeah,
want to,
yeah, yeah.
it
Like if I
sounds
get
so
real
much better.
close, if I get
Yeah,
real good up in there,
yeah, exactly.
it
Be like,
sounds different. Yep.
it's okay, everybody. We're going to another world. If you do the microphone thing, it definitely enhances your podcast by getting all this different stuff. But if you don't have the money to get all that stuff, what better way than to just go to a studio that has all that stuff for you and you just rent it until you make it. And then from there, if you want to, work with Cesar for the rest of your life, go for it. I mean, it all depends on the content because I've done a comic book podcast. I've done this type of podcast with Tony, and then on my solo podcast. And it really it helps to understand what you need and the background. I don't know if and like right now I have everything blacked out. Right, it's my office. It's my haven here, my home. So the background here doesn't look great. I actually should be talking about my other background, which is my Captain America shield and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I've
But
seen that background. I'm
yeah,
surprised you didn't pull up on that background.
well, I have to add the brand. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the thing is the background of my office, it's a computer repair office. So
yeah.
like literally, I do a lot of computer repair in here, so it doesn't look great.
Right.
So
No,
having a
everything
podcast studio
everything
is
is
good.
super intentional. And like I said, I haven't specifically made content for us yet because I haven't needed to. I haven't had to, but I'm gonna start. And everything you see around you is intentional. I
Mm-hmm.
have that as a backdrop for a purpose. I have
Mm-hmm.
my a second mic right here for when I need to do interviews or strategy meetings with my clients, and I need Laura or the rest of my team right next to me. You know what I mean? So everything you see in the office is on purpose.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, are you able to disclose the address, or should they
Yeah.
contact you
No, no, they
first?
can come. They can
Yeah.
come in. I mean, you should make an appointment though, because a lot of times I'm either not here or I mean, but the door's usually locked. There's a little ring bell because I got too much equipment here, so it's
Mm-hmm.
usually locked. But there's a little ring bell that you can come in, and if we're here, You see my truck outside. If you see a big red truck outside, I'm here.
Okay.
So but yeah, they can come in. We're located at 300 Stony Brook Court. I don't know if anybody knows Newburgh. Actually, one of your guys came in. One of your other podcasters came in. Evolution Energy.
Okay.
I did an ad for them recently, and yeah. So 300 Stony Brook Court in Newburgh. If you're familiar with Newburgh, it's right behind where Hurricane Grill is, and there's like a bunch of offices there, doctors' offices, different offices. We're one of those offices in those suites.
Okay.
So that's where we're at, and you can come in and make an appointment. I do suggest making an appointment because we stay pretty busy. But if you want to stop in, let me know when, and I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, podcasts are, they're a funny thing, right? So like some people will chat it up, like Joe Rogan, and they'll curse and they'll chat and they'll do all the stuff. Some other places will keep it like,
Yeah.
100, like just business, and some of them are political engaged. So you could literally do crochet. You could talk about crochet on here if you wanted to. Like, you could do. I don't know how to do crochet, but they could be, they could be like knitting and literally just doing crochet. People will watch as long as you're entertaining and as long as you're not stuttering the entire time and you're easy to listen to. People will watch and people will listen. And that's the important thing. But the equipment definitely helps because you sound a hell of a lot better. Your editing software has to be on point because, like, even now, I had my computer crash in the middle of this. And listen, I'm a computer repair person, but I can't help.
Yeah.
Microsoft has problems all the time, so
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna have to take a look at it because it's been good for the past couple of weeks, and then for some reason it kicked out. But the most important part, their equipment is up to date. Their equipment is looked at. They're the ones that are monitoring this stuff. You don't have to carry that burden. So it's
Right.
important to have, like, that person behind you doing all this stuff because how long does it take you to edit a podcast?
Yeah. So it's funny you say that. Uh, um, the equipment is a big part of it, but it's, the operator, you have to know how to use all this stuff. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know how it all goes together, how it all ties together, and then how to edit it, how to bring it into the whole thing. So the real advantage of working with us is, yes, you get the equipment, but the real thing here is the team. You have a whole team behind you, myself, all my experience, everything I've done, as well as others that are there to help you build the whole thing out. If there's something does go wrong, one of us is going to know how to fix it, or
Yeah.
one of us is going to know what to do and get creative with it. So you could
Mm-hmm.
have all the equipment, you could spend all the money, but then you got to spend all the time learning all the equipment. And
Mm-hmm.
time is the biggest thing, right? If you want to save time, if you have the time, if you don't have the money, you need to invest the time. And if you don't have money or time, then that's a different problem.
Then you rent. Then you rent.
Then you rent. Then you rent. Yeah, but yeah, that's still money, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
It's a lot
it,
cheaper though
it
than
is a
buying
lot
equipment.
cheaper, a lot cheaper, definitely a lot cheaper. But
Yeah,
yeah, so
I mean, just so that they can kind of understand. Let's just talk about software, right?
yeah,
One of your softwares probably costs like what, close to like $300-$400 at
yeah.
least.
So we use Premiere Pro, right? I mean, we've used all of them. DaVinci Resolve. It really depends on, again, the project that I'm working with. But usually we're in Premiere or DaVinci. And yeah, those can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars, just the software, and then you have to learn how to use the software.
Mhm.
After Effects, if you want any kind of animations on your stuff, that's a different level of skill, So yeah, the software can be hundreds of dollars, the equipment can be thousands of dollars. The savings to your point, when it comes to renting and using a team is huge, and the biggest win is time. You don't have to spend 15 years figuring all this stuff out.
Mhm.
I'm here.
You got people for that. Yeah.
I already put in the 15 years.
Yeah.
I already did the 15 years of learning all this stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you don't have to.
Yeah.
Come on in, get what you need. A lot of people have the idea, have the thought, and have the desire and even the drive, but they don't have the how. A lot of people are missing the how. They have the energy, they have even the money, but they don't know how. They don't know where to spend the money. You know how many people with money I talk to? A lot of people that have money, and they come at me like, "Here, what do I do with all this money?"
Yeah.
They come to me and they're like, "Okay," and I'm like, "Okay."
Sounds like a problem for me. Let's go.
Well, that's why I was telling you I'm going to work with you more because we yeah, we'll talk about more about that. But long story short is we have a team, we have the equipment, we have the knowledge, and I'm ready to work with you, and I'm ready to work with anybody who's a good fit for it, who's ready for it. Honestly, I've also turned down a lot of business because they're just not ready. You know what I mean? If you're going to invest your last few dollars on marketing and on doing all of this stuff, I would, figure something else out. Go out and sell. Like, don't spend your last few dollars on this because it takes time and it takes effort and energy, and it's a lot harder when you're investing your savings into this versus actual working capital versus actual your business is letting you do that. The
Yep.
huge point, so I've turned down business from a lot of people because they think that this will save their lives, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the big thing is they need to really understand, right? You can't become a TikTok star or a Facebook or Instagram star overnight unless you do something crazy like punch somebody in the groin. That'll definitely get you on like viral stuff. But as
Honestly,
a business owner,
even then, you probably have to punch a lot of groins
yeah,
before you go viral.
and like yeah, you have to do a bunch of punching, which is a lot of punching, right? But I've been at it for almost 12 years and I still haven't made it. I mean, I get paid from Facebook and stuff like that, and I've also had subscriptions and services and experience. I've helped people get their Facebook accounts back. I've helped businesses, which I mean, you can't get Facebook on the line even if even if you wanted to. But I've been able to do some magic for some people because it's kind of like it can work sometimes and sometimes it can't, especially if they've been disabled, they've been hacked. It's important for them to understand, like, you can't just do a silly video and automatically become famous. Some people have, but it doesn't really make sense because you're a one-hit wonder, right? Just like those different singers that make that one hit and that's it. You don't want, if you want to be long term, you really got to work with Cesar, work out your strategies before you actually put out your content, and you got to record a lot of content, right? I mean,
Yep.
On a, like, let's say if we're doing a daily basis podcast, right? Not even daily basis. Let's say we're just doing it the way that I'm doing it right now, which is like 2 or 3 episodes in a weekend. That gives me enough content to last me almost a month. Instead of people, people are very used to just pushing out all their content all at once, and now you just wasted all that content, and then you have to come up with more content. And there's something called creator exhaustion. So something I wanted to kind of ask you as somebody that is in this field, have you seen a lot of podcasters, a lot of digital marketers, a lot of these individuals that own business, because owning a business is stressful, have that creator exhaustion? At a certain point, they're like, I'm spent, that type of
All
stuff.
the time, dude. All the time. It's one of the most common things in the space, especially when you're not getting the results that you're looking for right away, because we're all creatures of habit. We all want instant gratification. If I make a video or 2, 3, or 5 or 10 and it doesn't blow up, then I get discouraged, then I get exhausted, then it didn't work. So all the time, dude. I have podcasters that start their podcast and for whatever reason, I mean, life gets in the way, stuff happens and they just have to stop, or they just or they don't like themselves, or they run out of funding, or they run out. There's so many different reasons. Exhaustion is a big one. I'm just like, oh, I don't, it's just not working for me.
The kids are bothering me.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta hang out with my significant other,
Yep,
and
yep. Oh,
do I have to
all
do
the
something this weekend?
excuses, the excuse, or the all not excuses, because honestly, a lot of them can be legitimate
Yeah.
reasons. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to how bad you want it, bro. It really is. How bad do you want this thing? We were just talking before about the this new viral trend with the morning routine, and the guy that went super viral with the water and the this and the that. He's been dunking his face in ice bowls for a year. Okay. This is what people don't understand. This is the part. Okay. He's been doing this for a year and he blew up 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the thing. He's been doing the same format, dunking his face in water for a year straight. Okay. And you can look it up. Go to his page. You can see all the videos that he did before blowing this up. So it never happens overnight. Never. It might look like it happened overnight. Maybe the Haktua girl was overnight. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
But that wasn't even her podcast. She was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
drunk on somebody else's podcast. So,
Exactly.
and that was
Exactly.
his episode that blew up
Yep.
because of her.
Yep.
And it was like, maybe he did a couple other episodes before that, before he actually blew up because of her.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
but that's an anomaly. You never want to shoot for that. You want to shoot for consistency. You want to shoot for a brand message. You want to shoot for the things that you can do for the long haul. Don't aim for the viral post.
yeah,
Don't, because you'll never get it. It's like trying to catch a snowstorm. It's trying to catch lightning in a bottle.
yeah.
You're never gonna catch it if you're chasing it. Don't do that.
I'm going to use that line.
Yeah.
So
which one? Which one? I said a whole bunch of stuff.
The lightning in a bottle one.
Yeah.
It's like catching a lightning in a bottle. It's very hard to do. Before I let you go, and because I know that you're busy, what I also like to ask business owners as we end our podcast is, if you can go to, like, the aspiring digital marketer, the aspiring podcast studio person, the person who wants to eventually be you someday, right? If you could give them any advice as to, like, what they could do better, or what could they do to get started, what are some tips, or some, what's a saying that you can give them to kind of inspire them for the future?
Oh man, I actually, it's funny because I never really saw myself in this position until now. And it's really because I was a student first. I
Mm-hmm.
was always a student first. I learned everything from online. I read everything. I read all the books. Somebody comes out with a book, that I'll read it. I'll download it. I'll listen to it. I'm on YouTube learning new things 24/7. At night, I go to sleep to YouTube videos learning how to do new shit. Become a student first. Learn. There's a bunch of things out there that have already been done. If you're sitting there thinking you're going to reinvent the wheel without knowing what's out there, you're gonna have exhaustion. You're gonna burn yourself out. There's so many things, from coding to websites to video to everything, dude. Everything is already out there. You just got to dig in and put in the time, put in the work, learn. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
yeah, if you're looking to be someone like me that has their own studio, that has their own agency, that is on a growth path, that wants to, I want to build a multi-million-dollar agency. That's my goal. I want to build a multi-million. I want to be like, just like Gary Vee or some of these other guys doing it. I look up to them because they have $150 million agency. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I may not agree with some of the things that he's talking about, but he did it. He did the work. You know what I mean? So if you're looking to be like those guys, or even like me, you got to put in the work. You got to put in the time. I'm here on a Saturday. I'm here on Sunday. I'm here, whatever time. There's no time. You know what I mean? Like when you're a business owner, you're working 24/7. It's not 9 to 5. It's not whatever. You're in it all day long. Like I said, I go to sleep. I have my home office, and I'll sleep on the desk, and I'm at home, but I'm on the desk and I fall asleep because I'm tired. But I'm watching stuff. I'm learning stuff. I'm reviewing things. AI is a huge wave. You know how hard it's been for me to catch up on every single AI platform right now? So that's the thing. If you really want to be someone like me, you got to put in the time. You got to learn. You can't be lazy. I may not get up at 4 a.m. like some of these other people do, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to bed at 3:45.
Yeah. No, and,
You know?
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very important, right?
Yep.
To put in the time, put in the work. A lot of kids think that they could be TikTok stars like tomorrow.
Yep.
But that being said, I want to make sure that as we close, I want to thank you, Cesar, for allowing me to interview you. With a lot of the small businesses that I talk to, it's important for you to kind of understand that taking time out of the day just to even be on this podcast, it takes time. So, going to their pages, liking their videos, sharing the content, it really helps, because without that, we can't get a lot of this stuff done, right? So if you guys see this video, please like, share, follow, subscribe, reach out to his business, and see where we can go from there. Because if you don't support the businesses that are in your near area, right, they won't become businesses for long. And if they have quality products, they put in investment. It's important to utilize these services, because the more you build locally, the more the money stays in the area. He's a local shopper, right? So he shops locally around the area. He helps generate economic growth in our community. So it's important for small businesses to get that support so they can support the rest of the community, right? Cesar, thank you very much. Again, I appreciate you for giving me the time to interview you. This is Mr. 845, social media and events, and we are continuing more and more videos. So check us out every Wednesday at noon. A lot of the videos get generated as a short clip here on Facebook and Instagram. And then we also push the actual main video on YouTube because for some reason they don't like the larger videos on there. So check them out. Check out all the videos from front to end if you can. The more you watch, you can even just be cooking dinner and just listening to these podcast videos just to get to know more businesses on the Hudson Valley. So we'll be hitting the streets and checking out some more businesses. All right. That being said, everybody, take it easy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, buddy.
No
All
problem.
right. Anytime. We'll talk soon.
Yep.
Bye.